Hello and welcome to Holocron. D23 Expo isn't until August 23rd, but Lucasfilm decided to drop a surprise for fans just a little bit early by revealing the trailer for the second season of Star Wars Resistance. They also nonchalantly dropped the bombshell that the second season of Resistance will also be the final season, which opens up a lot more discussion that we'll get into. However, I have not seen this trailer yet, so I figured we could watch it together and you can see my initial reaction and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Admittedly, Resistance is not my favorite of the animated series from Star Wars so far compared to the Clone Wars and Rebels, and I think a lot of the fans feel the same way, and I'm willing to bet that is partly what led to the decision to end it after Season 2, but we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's just check out this trailer, shall we?
Get us into space and shoot.
Our only way to escape.
It's going to be hard to keep this station together with the First Order at our backs.
We're running low on everything.
Food, water, even fuel.
Please, be patient. We're in the middle of a war.
And you can thank your captain for that.
The Colossus deserves a new home. We have to work together if we're gonna survive.
We only take orders from one tyrant, Captain Kragan.
Tabra, if you are to rise in the ranks, I will require your total cooperation. Yes, sir.
Wow.
She is key to finding the Colossus.
Finally, we will wipe them out.
Fail, and I will see to your execution personally.
Oh, cool.
They are everywhere. Entire planets are just giving up.
It's just like the Empire when I was a kid.
How do they know how to find us?
Get as far away as you can. There are bounty hunters who might be coming up.
Just act casual and keep a low profile.
I was a spy. I'm a master at keeping a low profile.
Most impressive.
I trust the Aces can handle this.
I think she's the one in charge.
Ooh, you're quick.
What is this place? How do you recognize all of these symbols?
It's a power source from an ancient time.
Oh, wow.
My Faison has returned.
The resistance is proving to be stronger than we anticipated.
I got him!
We're good to go. Punch it.
Haha!
Capable of dealing with them. And I will find someone who can.
That's awesome. That didn't sound like Adam Driver, though. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. So, that was actually a really good trailer. Part of my issues with Resistance was that it just didn't grip me like the other series did. It felt very watered down compared to the other animated programs. I had this problem with the first season of Rebels too, which is why I don't hate Resistance, because I kind of figured they were, following the same formula. Rebels started off very kind of juvenile, because the idea is that the audience is supposed to grow with the characters, and then it gets a little more serious as the stakes get higher. But I felt like and Clone Wars did this too, but I felt like Rebels and Clone Wars both still included enough, even in their first seasons, to at least hook people to stick around for the more serious stuff as it came down the road, and hinted to a lot of things that were coming down the road, to keep people's interest, and I just didn't feel like Resistance really did that. I don't know. I had a really hard time getting into the first season, I'll be honest with you. But I was hoping that that meant that we would get a really gripping, um, some really gripping stories down the road for Resistance. It makes it interesting because now with season 2, it's like that's it. You know, that'll be the shortest series that they've done to date in terms of television. There were some really good things. It looks like they're going to bring back some more mystical things, which is the stuff I love about Star Wars. I love that mystical side of it. And they're tying in a lot of things from the films because I believe the second season is supposed to take place after essentially the events of The Last Jedi, or perhaps concurrently to The Last Jedi, leading up to The Rise of Skywalker. And it looks like that if that's the case, that might be one of the reasons why they're ending it with season 2, kind of trying to cap the timeline, at least for now, at The Rise of Skywalker, so it truly feels like an ending. Which is probably a smart move, and then I think they're gonna, they're just gonna go backwards, I think, with some Knights of the Old Republic stuff. However, it looks like there might be some good stuff. However, my concern is that, even in the trailer, it looked like, for the most part, it's just kind of the same core group of characters, kind of just being by themselves in their own little group. One of the things I liked about Rebels is, Rebels, instead of it being necessarily about the rebellion, it was about a group of people standing up in their own way, and then eventually finding their way to the larger rebellion. And it looked like that's what they were going to do with Resistance, and I think they are. It just doesn't look like we're going to get a lot of them necessarily with the Resistance as a whole, at least not for the first half of the season. If the pattern proves correct, typically the first trailer we get for a season of the animated shows is typically just mainly for the first half of the season while they're still putting together the second half. So I still have hope that in the second half of the season, maybe they'll be with the larger Resistance and we'll see some more familiar characters and things like that. I just wish we were getting more of that since it is the final season. But, that was definitely not Adam Driver I heard voicing Kylo Ren. I think I'm reading right now that it was Matthew Wood, which is really disappointing. The thing I liked about Rebels is a lot of the actors came back to voice their actual characters, and I know that can't always be the case, but I really appreciate it just for the continuity when they do. And it's just disappointing. General Leia was obviously not voiced by Carrie Fisher in the first season, and that was for the obvious reason, and that's a little more understandable. But I just feel like Adam Driver should have been able to reprise his role. It just sounds weird with it not being him. But I'm looking forward to some of the other people that are going to pop up this season, especially Lucy Lawless, who I adore. And it was great to see her character in here. At least I think that's who that was. And I love it when some of my other favorite kind of people in media get to kind of join the Star Wars universe, even if it's just through animation. I felt the same way when Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar and all of those people began taking roles in Star Wars Rebels and things like that. So I am looking forward to seeing what this season does and what it adds. But I think I'm still going to remain pretty skeptical until I actually see the season premiere. I still think it's interesting that they're going to end this after the second season. It makes sense, and both for the story, I suppose, and also logistically. I know Disney Plus is opening the door to a lot of new projects for Lucasfilm to be able to do with Star Wars. And, you know, in the past, it was kind of, you know, you had the films and then you had the animated series like the Clone Wars or just Rebels. And those were the really only two avenues you could use to explore stories in Star Wars in terms of an actual visual media sense. But with Disney Plus, it's opening the doors for them to do a lot of things with live action that they weren't going to be able to do before. And it just provides another avenue that's really exciting. So maybe I also think this might be just their way of focusing on that new direction that they're taking with Star Wars in terms of doing more with the live action stuff and things with Disney Plus and making that their primary focus, which is understandable and also exciting, especially if those rumors about some of the other Disney Plus projects that we're hearing about turn out to be true or not. I hope they are, but sometimes those rumors, you know, rumors come and go and fans speculate kind of irresponsibly and report things out. So, but, you know, I would love to see some of this stuff roll out, and I'm excited for the stuff that has been officially announced as well. So, yeah, but that's just my take on it. Let me know what your theories are in the comments below and what your feelings are about the second and final season of Star Wars Resistance coming this fall. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything coming out of the channel. May the Force be with you, and I will see you next time.